Okay, few things. One, this lighting, terrible. I'm gonna put another light over here, I think, if I film here again. Two, I despise the way my eyebrows look right now. One looks like normal, and the other one makes me look like I'm quizzical. Today I'm here to do the book buffet tag that was created by the wonderful women who are hosting the book buffet. We have Kim from Bookmarks and Breadsticks, Rosie from Rosie Cocksha, and Rita from Rita by the Book, and Amy from Potato Brarian. I think I got all that. Okay. Anyway, the book buffet is a readathon that is being hosted for the entire month of August, and the general idea is to read food writing, whether that be nonfiction that's about food or fiction books where food is a major theme. I've decided to sit here and do my face while I do this. One, because I enjoy it, and two, because that's the best way to, like, kill two birds with one stone, like, timing-wise. So let's get into the questions. And the makeup, I guess. So, question 1, Appetizer. A short story, novelette, or novella that you wish could be expanded into a full-length novel or get a novel-length sequel. I have a few thoughts on this, but the one that I ultimately decided to go with was Love and Color, hopefully I put a picture up here, by Bolu Babalola. Holy crap. I am so bad at saying that name. Okay, so this is a short story collection that is largely based on myth retelling. So some of it is like Greek myth, but only a couple. Mostly it's West African myth. And I adored every single short story in here so much. Like, I don't think I enjoyed them all equally, but I think it was the difference between like 5 stars or 5.5 stars. And I understand that 5.5 stars isn't really a rating that we typically use, but that's my point. Even the ones I didn't like, or didn't like as much, I still would have given like a 5-star rating. I said when I read it that I thought every single character in there was so great that I would have gladly read full-length novels just based on them. And I stand by that. So I thought that was a good answer for the question. Question 2, salad bar. Pick 3 ingredients, plot, elements, writing style, tropes, etc. that would be in your ideal book salad. Now, I love this question. I thought this was so fun, and at first, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, oh hell, like I don't know what I like, but I do know what I like. Okay, so in my perfect book salad, first of all, I want unlikable characters. I know. I like unlikable characters. I consider myself to be an unlikable character, so it works. So I want unlikable characters. I love gothic atmosphere. It's like my favorite thing, for sure. Holy crap, this blue is like way more pigmented than I expected it to be, and it's also darker than I expected it to be. I mean, like, I'm not mad, I'm just surprised. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, unlikable characters, gothic atmosphere, and then, you're probably waiting for it if you've been around for any length of time, a house, a castle, a boarding school, something along those lines that the story centers on, preferably one located in an isolated area. So, yeah, I got rather specific there. And, let me think. Some books that kind of embody that are like Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, Madam by Phoebe Wynne, which is a newer release. Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia kind of also has that. And then also, like, well, I've only read 2 books by Laura Purcell. I read The Silent Companions and The House of Whispers, and both of them had all of those elements. So yeah, that's my perfect book salad. Next, question 3. DOSA Station. a slim volume that packs a significant punch. So I don't know what a DOSA station is, or rather I didn't, but Amrita explained in her original like posting of this. So I will obviously have that linked and you can go watch that, or you can just Google it. I still am not quite sure what it is. I don't know. I would try to explain it, but like I know I'm gonna get it wrong. So DOSA station, what was it? Thin but packs a significant punch. I'm going with The Deep by Rivers Solomon. That is like a novella. It's also one of the ones I was considering for books that I wouldn't mind having had like a full-length novel for. But I decided to put it here instead because that book does pack a significant punch. So River Solomon kind of, there was a song I believe also titled The Deep, and I can't remember the artist right now, but they worked with River Solomon on this, and it's a very good song as well. I suggest if you've read the book but haven't heard the song, go look it up because it's excellent. But The Deep is about pregnant women who were tossed overboard in the days of the Atlantic slave trade. And the story is that the children they gave birth to became mermaids, more or less. And it's a story about severe, like, intergenerational trauma in this, like, underwater world. What they had to do is they assigned, like, one person to be the keeper of their stories. And, like, every year they impart all the memories onto everybody, and they just kind of like use that to deal. However, the current like holder of the memories does not feel cut out for it, and to be honest, I don't think she really is, and she is struggling, and that's kind of like the crux of the story. And I thought it was beautifully written, very impactful. I absolutely adored it. Question 4, Pasta, a book that brings you comfort and leaves you fully satisfied and content when you're done with it. Okay, first of all, pasta is delicious. It's the best food. Like, I brook no arguments there. Okay. But, let me find my brush. Hold on. This might be questionable because I just recently finished this book, and by just recently I mean like a few days ago. However, it left me feeling full and content and just so happy. And that was The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. Wow, like what an exceptional work of art. So first of all, I read The Alice Network by Kate Quinn many a year ago. And I greatly enjoyed that, and I remember, because I wrote it in a Goodreads review, which I rarely do, that I found the author's note, or maybe it was an About the Book section, it doesn't matter, but I found it to be particularly exciting because I got to see, you know, what kind of research Kate Quinn had done and how that impacted the characters she developed and stuff. And I adored that bit. And The Rose Code had the exact same thing, which made me unbelievably happy. So The Rose Code, just for like a quick little synopsis, it takes place in two timelines. One is in the late 1930s, early 1940s, and we're following these three women who wind up working at Bletchley Park in various capacities, breaking codes. And then we're also following them in 1947. It's like right before the Princess Elizabeth marries Philip, formerly Philip, Prince of Greece. This is important because one of the girls we're following was actually dating Prince Philip during the war. And anyway, obviously, they didn't stay together. And so that's that. But we find out one of the girls is in an insane asylum. And she reaches out to the other two. And they haven't spoken in years because there was just a very bad thing went down, and it kind of ruined their friendship, and it hurt me, but it is what it is. So she hasn't spoken to them in a very long time, and she needs their help. So she reaches out. Holy fallout. So she reaches out, and you know, the other two are trying to figure out what to do here. And then in the back, in the about the author, you find out like so many of these characters are actually based on real people who were there. She also has like Dilly Knox is part of it. Obviously Prince Philip is part of it. Alan Turing makes a cameo. So like actual people that lived and worked at Bletchley Park. So I really enjoyed that, and I found it just everything I ever could have wanted in a book. Okay, question 5 is Beef, a book that is hearty, whether it's long, fills you up with gooey warmth, or was just a slog to get through. Okay, I had some fun picking this one. What I ultimately went with was House of Liaise by Mark Z. Danielewski. You see the cover. Oh god. Talk about a freaking slog. So I know there are people who are like, that book is a work of art, and that's fine, because I just don't understand it, so it probably is a work of art. Okay. But yeah, it's written very bizarrely. There's like the actual story, and then there's a whole entire story taking place in the footnotes, and the footnotes will be like pages long. Absolutely pages long. So I tried to like read them both at the same time, but that wasn't working, and I was like, I'm gonna DNF this. So I switched it up, and I just read the main storyline, and not the footnote business, and that was okay. But then I tried to go back and read the footnotes, and holy crap, I just didn't care. So that's that, I guess. Question 6. Bread. Something you and your friends fight over while waiting for your dinner is the bread basket. Talk about a book you fight with other people about. So, okay. I don't really fight with people about books. Mostly because I don't see a point to it. People have different preferences. Unless it's something where it's like a problematic type of representation or something along those lines. Like, I really don't care to fight with people. I don't really care to fight with people just in general. So what I'm going to go with for an answer here is less of a fight that I've had and more of a situation where people just disagree with me, and loudly. I have since taken the review down because I'm tired of being told that I'm stupid. The Tattoos of Auschwitz by... it doesn't matter. God, I did not think that would make as many waves as it did. It was probably like the 3rd or 4th video I posted, so it wasn't even, like, I was still new. And I read it for the History Challenge last year, and I hated it. And then furthermore, I found out that per the, oh god, I can't remember what they're called, but basically, they're like an association that does something with like Holocaust survivors or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly what the place was, and I've taken down the video, so I don't even know if I can see it at this point. Anyway, I found out that they do not stand by the book, and that they are actually quite upset, and they published an entire report detailing all the factual inaccuracies and misrepresentations that were made in the book, because they thought it was important that people know that it was that bad. People didn't like that. They called me, well, as the aforementioned, stupid. Disrespectful was a word that I get thrown around a lot. And my main response to that was, you'll call me disrespectful while defending an author who supposedly is telling the true story of a man whose name she didn't even bother to spell right. Anyway, that's really all you need to know about that book. Alright, question 7. The Cheese Room, a book with a happy ever after ending. So I don't read a ton of books that have a happily ever after ending. One, though, that I do remember and I did quite enjoy, well, I guess it kind of depends on what you consider happy ever after, because I read a lot of books where the ending is, like, hopeful, and, like, you feel good about reading it, but I wouldn't call it and they all lived happily ever after. But anyway, so one that I remember actually reading and enjoying, I think it was called Head Over Heels by Hannah Orenston. I'm gonna have a picture of it up here. And actually it's like a decent time of year to be reading it because it surrounds gymnastics. And it's a girl, or a woman, excuse me, who she was either trying out for the Olympic team or she had made the Olympic team, but then she got hurt, and obviously it was like a bad enough injury that she couldn't compete. So she's like doing her thing, living her life. She's living in Los Angeles. Her boyfriend dumps her, so she moves back home. I think it's North Carolina. And she gets a request from this man she knew in passing, because they were on the same, like, teams and stuff. They just didn't really work together too much. But he actually made it to the Olympics. And anyway, he finds out she's home, and he is like, hey, would you help me coach this girl? She's like an Olympic hopeful, and I just think, you know, like, she could use a little extra helping hand because she really has the talent to make it all the way. Anyway, it's like a romance novel, so you kind of know where this is going, but I thought it was so cute. Oh my god. It was one of, like, the cutest books I've ever read. The, what is it, like, when things go wrong and they're not really together anymore, that type of situation. It isn't just because of a lack of communication. That is something that I absolutely detest in these types of books, like when it's just everything will be fine if someone would just talk. This was more of a case of he did something really wrong and didn't want to listen to her, and then eventually he comes to his senses and they work it out. But I just liked that it was a little more complex in terms of the conflict than a lot of romances seem to be. I really appreciated that. It made for a more believable experience, and it also seemed like the way it was all handled was more indicative of, like, how healthy relationships work, you know? So I really appreciated this. What I don't appreciate is this NYX Bear With Me Cannabis Sativa Jelly Cheek color. This is horrible. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the book buffet. Alright, we're going a different route because I hate everything about what just happened there. Question 8. Chocolate Fountain. When you read a new series or author, do you dip in and out, or do you read it all back to back? So this totally depends on both the series and or the author, I guess. And especially how much is published already. So, for example, the Expanse series, very long series, very long books. I think there's 8 out right now, and I've read 7. The 9th, and I think the 9th is the final book, is coming out this November. So for that, I've been dipping in and out because those are very long books, and I would totally throw myself into a slump if I just tried to read them back to back to back. So I don't do that. And then stuff like the Invisible Library series by Genevieve Cogman, also more of a long series. So I've been dipping in and out of that one, although now I'm all caught up. And I just have to read the last book when it comes out. But if it's a book, or a series I guess, where all of them are published and it's more like a trilogy, those I'll pretty much binge read. Because I much prefer to read my series like pretty close together, especially if it's a trilogy, because I just find the experiences better overall for me if I do it that way, rather than like a year later the next book came out and I'm trying to remember where the last book ended and blah blah blah. Like, I can do it, it's not really a problem. I just prefer not to if I don't have to. Another thing that I like to do though is I'll just reread. So like, for example, the final book in the Poppy War series came out this past year, and I just read all of them. Like, I reread books 1 and 2 and then finished up with book 3. I don't mind doing that either. But with things like The Expanse, where like, holy hell, those books are extremely long and they're not particularly fast-paced either, okay? No, I'm not doing that. I don't have a death wish. Okay, and then question 9, who's invited? Tag some foodie friends. So, the creators of this tag pretty much tagged every single person that I know. But, you know, if somehow they missed you, or you missed the video, you can go check it out. I'll leave it linked below. And if you want to do this tag, because the questions are fun, even if you're not participating in the book buffet, like, I think these are just fun questions in general, feel free to go ahead and say, I tagged you. If you have any particularly fun answers to these questions, go ahead and feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I would love to know all your thoughts about food and books and everything else. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.